Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the series of video lecture on English for Skill Enhancement. I am Arif Ahammed. I teach English at Department of SNH, MLR Institute of Technology. Today, I'll be talking about one interesting topic that is common errors in English. Fine. So we have already throughout the different units like Unit One, Unit Two, Unit Three, we already have learned certain things. For example, common errors in terms of article and preposition, in terms of usage of tenses, misplaced modifiers, right, noun, pronoun, and subject verb agreement. Now, in this part, we'll be talking about certain few other aspects also where we commit mistake, and they are considered as very common errors. That means we frequently commit those mistakes. Fine. So let's see. What are the overview? What is the overview of today's lecture? What are the things that I'm going to cover? Very simple types and explanation of different common errors. So I'll be talking about different types of common errors. What are they exactly? And then we will be talking about examples. Like we will, while explaining, I would be also providing examples for each of those kind of common errors. Fine. Now let's see. So first is wrong parallelism. That is one area of mistake. Now what is wrong parallelism? Now you know the meaning of parallelism. Parallelism means what? Let's say if I say that something a parallel means they are similar in nature, right? So wrong parallelism means when we don't maintain that similarity. Now let's see. Occurs when similar sentence elements are not grammatically aligned. That means their grammatical structure are not same. Let's say in a sentence there might be different, elements, right? Now, if those elements are not maintaining similar kind of grammatical structure, they are not grammatically aligned in terms of structure, then what happens? Then this mistake occurs. Okay. Now, what will happen if you rectify this mistake, if you take care of this mistake, it will improve clarity and readability. And common in list, comparison, correlative conjunction, and verb forms. Now, normally within this, these are the area. When we include list of certain things in a sentence, the part like the content of that list might not match grammatically. If we are making comparison between two different things, so one part might not have similar grammatical structure. If we compare it with the other part, then correlative conjunction. When we use correlative conjunction, not only but also, then what happens? These two different sentence part, what happens sometimes we don't maintain similar grammatical structure, and then when we are using multiple verb, sometime what happens, unknowingly we add a verb in between that might not be similar in terms of structure with the other verbs. Now let's see the example, then it will be more clear. So list of series, that is one area. Items should have the same form. Then correlative conjunction. What happens? Maintain balance, both and like there should be balance between both the part. Then comparison. When we are making comparison, ensure structure matches on both sides. So both the sides should have similar structure. Then verb or tense form. Match verb forms in connected clauses. Okay. Adjective and noun balance. Maintain now consistent pattern. So let's see the example now. See, the first one, she enjoys, it's about, maintaining same tense form or verb form, you see. So, you can see there are certain verbs, right? Reading, paint, jogging. Now, you can see they are not maintaining similar structure. Reading, it is in ing form, gerund form. Jogging also is in ing form, but paint is not in ing form. So, then it's what happens here. This is an example of wrong parallelism. What we are supposed to do, how are we supposed to fix it? We should ensure all these three verbs are having similar structure. So see here, she enjoys reading, painting, and jogging. All three verbs similar, ing with ing. So that is the correct way of writing the sentence. Fine. Next one, he is both intelligent and has creativity. Now it's about the problem with noun and adjective form. He is both intelligent. So intelligent, I am saying this is I am using an adjective, but then has creativity, it is a noun. Now both these thing, either both the parts should be noun or both the parts should be adjective. One can be adjective, another can be noun. That cannot happen. In that case, it would be an example of wrong parallelism. So how do you fix it? Make both the parts similar. He is both intelligent and creative. See how did we make it similar? Both we are now I'm using both adjective form in both the side, this side and that side. Right? Now it is okay. See, wrong comparison. Sometimes when we make comparison also, two parts would be different. Like that is wrong. For example, see, Kohli's number of century is equal to Sachin. Now apparently it might sound very okay, fine. People will understand also. But then it's a serious grammatical, problem, mistake. Why? Because your intention was to compare between number of century that is being scored by Kohli and Sachin. But here, as per this sentence, what you are doing, we are actually comparing Kohli's number of century with a person, that is Sachin. Now there are two different elements. Sachin is a person, is a cricketer, and number of century is a statistical thing. We cannot compare both of them, right? So what we should compare? Sachin's number of century and Kohli's number of century. Both are same. We should compare them. So how do you fix it? Kohli's number of century is equal to Sachin's. You can also mention Sachin's number of century. That is also fine. If you only put Sachin apostrophe s, it is understood that you are talking about Sachin's number of century. In this case, you are actually making right comparison, because you are making comparison between number of century that is being scored by Kohli and number of century that is scored by Sachin. Fine. So I hope it is clear now. Wrong parallelism. Now let's move to the next common error, that is irregular plural noun. Now this is very simple mistake, but we do commit this mistake. Okay, sometime knowingly, sometime unknowingly. Now, knowingly when we commit, when we don't pay enough attention. See, so normal, the rule we all know that how we convert a single noun into pronoun, a plural noun. S, we add s or es, right? Now that is the normal rule. Now whichever noun follows that rule, they are considered as regular plural nouns. No issue with them; they are regular. But there are certain exception. We cannot follow the same rule for all the nouns. Now they are called irregular nouns, and mostly we commit mistake with these nouns. Now, for example, man, we cannot say mans. We cannot add s with it and make it plural. Rather, we just change the vowel. Okay, man become men, men. Goose, it become geese. Okay, few nouns are there, they don't change. Singular form and plural form, they are same. For example, ship, same. We don't change. The word that ends in f or fe, normally how do you don't add s or es to make them plural. Knife doesn't become knife. What? Rather, the spelling change will happen. You see, the last f or fe will get transformed or changed to ves. So that's why knife become knives, knives. Wolf become wolves, right? Now, these are still fine. Maybe most of us have now become familiar with this kind of irregular noun. But we still face this problem, or still we face problem with the noun which were actually borrowed from different languages, especially this Latin and Greek roots. Okay, we don't have any option. We simply have to memorize them, remember them, and have to be very careful and conscious while using them. Now, for example, criterion. This is a singular form. The plural form is criteria. Thesis is a singular form. The plural form is thesis. Right? Now, there are a few other examples of irregular noun. Child become children, ox become oxen. There are certain things, news for information, news, they don't have any plural form. They are always considered as singular only. So these are the things that we need to remember in our mind in order to avoid common error in terms of plural nouns. Fine. So that is second area. We are done with now the first thing, wrong parallelism, and then irregular plural noun. Now let's see the next one, collocation. Now collocation is also very interesting, thing in English. Collocation means what? Natural word combination. Now please understand natural word combination. We don't forcefully combine them. They have been actually natural because people are using those combination of words since long, especially by native speakers. Okay, so certain words will always come together in pair. They are known as collocation. Now, for example, there are different types. Verb plus noun can be there, adjective plus noun, verb plus preposition. So, verb plus noun make decision. So, make and decision, they mostly come together. You can see, you can observe. Adjective and noun, heavy rain. See, and then verb plus preposition, depend on. Now, these are all combination, natural combination, and that's why they are called collocation. Now sometimes we do mistake, instead of make a decision we do say take a decision, right? That's actually wrong. That is Example of wrong collocations. Sometimes instead of saying heavy rain, we do say strong rain. That is also wrong. Strong rain is not natural. What is natural? Heavy rain. This collocation is natural. So this is also one very important thing. Now there are many examples of collocations we might not be familiar. So again, the option for us is to go through the list of the natural collocations that we are having in English in order to be able to avoid mistakes in terms of using pair of words. Fine. So that is one important area. Then let's come to the next area, fourth one, that is vague pronoun reference. So sometimes what happens, we do use pronoun in a sentence. You all know what is pronoun. Pronoun is something that is being used in place of noun. Okay. So when we use pronoun in sentences, sometimes we commit certain types of mistake. Okay. Now see those types of mistake. First is ambiguous pronoun. So we'll write a sentence and we'll use a pronoun, but the pronoun actually can refer to two possible nouns. So reader will not be clear which noun actually the pronoun is referring to. Sometimes the reference can be implied, no clear noun stated. The noun won't be stated clearly. Pronoun would be there, but the noun would be missing. General refers to entire idea. Instead of referring to a particular noun, which a pronoun should do, a pronoun sometimes what happens refers the entire idea of phrase. That is also a kind of wrong usage of pronoun. Okay, and then weak reference. Sometimes the reference would be too weak, or there will be lack of reference. You won't be able to find which noun actually the pronoun referring to. Fine. Now let's see the example. See, when Priya met Anjali, she told her the news. Now, what is the pronoun you know here? She, right? Now let's see who is this she. It can be both Priya, it can be Anjali also. How are you sure that it is one person? Especially if you are not familiar with the context, right? So this is called what? The first thing, ambiguous. The pronoun reference is actually ambiguous. It's not clear whether she is referring to Anjali or whether she is referring to Priya. So what is the way of fixing it? Be clear. Avoid or remove that ambiguity. How? When Priya met Anjali, Priya told her the news. So instead of using pronoun, you are directly using the noun only to avoid that ambiguity. Fine. I hope it's clear. See, next one. In the restaurant, they said the food was excellent. So, implied. It is in the restaurant, they said. So, they is pronoun. But can you tell who are these they? Is it clear from the sentence? Who are these they? It's not. It's implied. So, when I say, people will understand, who is listening to me, he or she will understand that they means here can refer to my colleagues, my friends who were with me, or it can also be some stuff from the restaurant, right? So here also it's an example of implied. The reference is implied, but it's not clear. How do you do it? You clearly refer, give or provide a reference point for this pronoun. So how do you write it? In the restaurant, the waiter said that the food was excellent. The waiter, you are clearly mentioning waiter. In the restaurant, several customers said the food was excellent. So the reference point you are making it clear. Okay, now general thing, general reference. He failed the test, which upset everyone. So I am generally using this a pronoun. Okay, but then which noun it is referring to? It can be test. It can be the failure of that person. It's not clear. So how do you fix it? His failure to pass the test upset everyone. Now it is clear that I am talking about failure. So I am not using any pronoun at all here in this case. Now, weak reference. In her article, she says it explains the concept well. Now, it is the pronoun. Is it clear? What what is the reference point of it? What does it indicate? This pronoun? It's not clear. How do you fix it then? In her article, she says the diagram explains the concept well. You are not using any pronoun, rather you are using the noun clearly in order to avoid that ambiguity. Fine. So I hope it is clear. So you have to be very clear. Remember, pronoun, though they apparently might look very simple, but we have to be very careful while we are using them. We have to check, cross check, recheck to find if that pronoun is clearly referring to a particular noun, which we are intending. Otherwise, the meaning might change. Sometimes the meaning won't be clear. All those problems will occur. Fine. I hope it's clear. Now let's see the next point. Avoid vague pronouns. So what do? Do not use any pronoun that can be vague or unclear in any manner. So use clear and specific nouns, as I already have shown in that example, all those examples. Avoid overusing pronouns. Like certain pronouns you can avoid in sentences. You don't need to use them. So wherever possible, like use pronouns only where it is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, try to avoid them. That is one another way. Reword for clarity if needed. The reword the sentences. Okay, it's not only about adding the reference point for the pronoun. Sometimes you can reframe the sentence in such a way that you are not using any pronoun at all, because that would probably give more clarity. So go for it. Do not use pronoun at all. Always identify what the pronoun refers to. If at all you are using pronoun, make sure that it is referring to a particular noun absolutely clearly. Fine? I hope it is clear. Now let's see the next area. Sentence fragment. Now this is one common mistake, especially most of the time we do it unknowingly or unconsciously, uh, especially when we don't pay attention to what we are speaking, or mostly it happens during writing. During speaking, it might not be that easily identifiable. Now, incomplete sentence, lacking subject, verb, or thought. Sometimes we use sentence in such a manner that they won't be incomplete. Either subject would be missing, sometimes verb would be missing, sometimes it won't express a clear idea. Missing subject or verb is one way of creating this sentence fragments. Dependent clause fragments. Sometimes we only use dependent clause as a sentence, which is not correct. Which is actually dependent clause is fragment of a sentence. It cannot be a complete sentence, because in the name itself it is written dependent clause. That means it must be depending on other part. So it can never be complete. It will always be fragment. Phrase and afterthought fragment. Sometimes phrase or afterthought can also work as a sentence fragment. Now let's see the example. Very easy example. If I only say went to the store, who went to the store? The subject only is missing here. Who went to the store? Who performed this action is not clear. So we add a subject clearly. Mention who actually went to the store. She went to the store because he was tired. What is happening here? Can you see? A dependent clause. I am only using a dependent clause as a complete sentence, but this is not a complete sentence. This is a fragment, right? This is actually example of sentence fragmentation. Sorry for the mistake. It is sentence fragmentation. Fine. Now see the next example. So this dependent clause, this cannot be a complete sentence. This is sentence fragment, which is wrong. So how do? You have to add the other clause also to make it a complete sentence. Because he was tired, he went to bed early. Now it is a complete sentence. Previously it was a sentence fragment. Now see afterthought, next type, afterthought of phrase. Sometimes they can also be sentence fragment. For example, the use of renewable energy. Now this is just an afterthought. Something is missing, you can understand here. For example, the use of renewable energy is increasing worldwide. Now it becomes complete. So if, in a very simple way, if a particular sentence which you wrote as a sentence, because the moment you put a full stop, it becomes a sentence. Now, if it is not conveying a complete sense, complete meaning, then remember that they are always sentence fragment, which is not correct. You cannot use sentence fragment. You have to always use sentence, complete sentences. Fine? So I hope it is clear now. Now let's go to the next one, comma splice. Sometimes what happens, we use comma just to splice two different sentences. See the example directly. She was late, she missed the meeting. So because we will be writing in a hurry and all, what happened? We put the comma in between. But is it correct? You cannot put a comma. The comma is unnecessarily splicing the sentence. You have to write it by using conjunction. Write it as one single sentence. As she was late, she missed the train. If at all you are so fascinated with comma, you cannot leave without a comma. Fine, that's okay. You can use the comma, but that in that case you have to use these two different clause with a conjunction. As she was late, comma, she missed the train. There is other way. You can simply divide them in two different sentences. She was late, she missed the meeting. Full stop. Okay, so you can see a comma can create a lot of chaos always. So please be careful with them. Fine? Comma splices. So this is one very common area of mistake. Unnecessarily, wherever we'll feel, we'll put comma. But please remember, we cannot do that. Unnecessarily, if we put comma, like in this example, what will happen? It will be considered as a comma splice. That means it is splicing the sentence in the middle unnecessarily, which is wrong. Right? So I hope it is clear. Next, the last concept, bracketing commas. Sometimes we need to use two commas in sentence. They work as bracketing commas. They just work as a bracket. Instead of using bracket, we put two commas. See here the example. My friend Ramesh is coming. Now this one, before Ramesh there is one comma and then after Ramesh one comma. Right? So this is actually called bracketing commas. What is their role? You can see there adding some additional information. You can simply say my friend is coming, but you are supplying one additional information. You are also telling the name of your friend. So this additional information is actually put within these two commas. That's why they are considered as bracketing commas. In informal writing, we instead of using comma, we directly use bracket. I hope that's from there the name came, bracketing comma. So I hope it is clear. So my friend Ramesh is coming. So here what we did, instead of using these two bracketing commas, we just use one comma from in our sentence. My friend Ramesh is coming. Now this is wrong. We cannot put one comma. We have to put another comma here. Right? So I hope it is clear. All the points is clear. Now what did we learn from today's lecture? Very important things. We got familiar with different types of common errors like vague pronoun reference, then wrong parallelism, then what else? Uh, comma splice, bracketing commas, wrong plural forms, right? All those things we got to know. We also got to know about how to fix them, what are the things that we should be doing or following in order to avoid those mistakes, and then explanations, like examples also were provided in order to make like the concept more clear. Fine. So I hope you would be uh, using this lecture in order to avoid all these common errors in future. Thank you everyone.